Hi, I'm Anita Foust, and I'm here today to go through the U.S. Department of Labor information. Yesterday, or last episode, I was talking about how to deal with bullying on the job. And the ultimate form of bullying is for you to work for your whole 2 weeks or however long you have to work to get that paycheck, and then your employer does not pay you. That's the ultimate bullying. So today we're going to talk about what avenues you can take that are nonviolent to go about getting your money and filing a complaint against your employer. But I want to give you some for instances. Now, 30 years ago was the first time I ever heard of someone going to work and not getting paid. It was just something I had never heard of before. And these young ladies, I even think they went back to work and worked even after they didn't get the paycheck. I guess he must have promised them, well, I didn't have the money to pay you, but I'll have it next time. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But anyway, that was the first time. It was about 30, 32 years ago. Anyway, long story short, they didn't get paid. First time I ever heard it. And as far as I know, they did absolutely nothing to go about trying to get their money other than asking him for it. But there is something called the United States Department of Labor that will handle those types of complaints. And I have the information for you in the description below. Another instance is when someone was working at another restaurant and this man was getting paid, but he wasn't paying his workers. And so one of the cooks told him, said, look, I don't know what you're doing for the rest of them, but when on Friday, I better get my money, and I better get my money in cash, because sometimes, checks bounce. So he didn't threaten him as far as I know, but he looked like he could do some bodily harm. So he did get his money on Friday. I don't know if the rest of them did, but he did until that business closed. And he had a really good gift for catering and making the best macaroni and cheese and all of that. So he was kind of like, well talented. And that's one of the things I want to make sure that you understand is that, yes, this is a stepping stone, but you need to make sure you acquire new skills, sharpen the ones you have. That's always a good thing to have because when you go to the next job, you'll be more valuable. And thank you very much. The next thing is, I remember when a copy center closed. It wasn't FedEx Kinko's in the national chains. It was a local family copy center. And the people came to work one day and the police were there and would let them come into the building. They did not get paid. I think that company filed chapter one of I can't remember which one it was, but they filed something. I don't know if those people ever got their money. This is the other reason why I suggest for you to have a side business or a side hustle or a part-time job, whatever it takes for you to make sure that you have your money saved up. Also mentioned about you paying your rent in advance or paying your mortgage in advance. And when you pay your mortgage in advance, make sure you talk to the banker first to make sure the money is allocated properly because you don't want it to be wrapped up into some other way that they thought that you meant to pay it. And so make sure you talk to the banker before you do that. Now, when you're dealing with rent, it's a little easier and just say, this is the June rent and another check for the July rent. There's no confusion there. But sometimes when you go to inexperienced tellers, they may think that you're trying to pay some amortization game. I couldn't remember the name when I was doing the other video. I couldn't remember that for anything. But make sure you go and talk to the banker and make sure the banker applies your payment properly. But these are the things that I think that you should do. These are suggestions that I am making to you. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not an attorney. I'm just telling you things that I've done in my lifetime where it has turned out good for me or maybe even bad for me. So just make sure that you talk to the right people. I always say build your team. Once you get your money together, you can hire an attorney. Now, in the case of this, you may be able to go through legal aid. I'll put that contact information at the bottom in the description as well. But the bottom line is this, is that you need to have your money straight. You need to know how to apply for or how to file these types of complaints. You have to have your documentation. I can't emphasize enough about you documenting. You need to document when you go to work. You need to document When you're not there, you need to write down what time, all of that. I had a job one time. It has nothing to do with me not getting paid. I have never worked anywhere where I didn't get paid. I've been very fortunate to work for major companies. Not saying they wouldn't do it, because there's a lot of hanky-panky going on with money inside large corporations too. But the person asked me one day that I was working for, like it was taking me a huge amount of time to perform what he needed for me to do. So I didn't, how you answer that question? How long does it take for you to do X, Y, and Z? Okay, I don't know, but I'll let you know. Oh, I went and bought me a stopwatch because I thought he really wanted to know. And later on, years later, someone told me, said, you made him look like a butthole because you were busy with that stopwatch. I wore a stopwatch around my neck, y'all, and at work. But I wasn't trying to be smart. I thought he really wanted to know. So what I did, I I timed myself for everything that I did, and see if he came and told me that he needed for me to make a change, I made a note of that too. I documented all of that. And I have that on his little sheet when I would turn it in. Okay, at 10 o'clock, you told me you want to make this change. And I had to stop. At that point, we had plotters that did printing out, like, let's say PowerPoint slides. It wasn't like now where it's fast. It was actually plotters. Anyway, I'm getting a little off topic. But anyway, I am trying to emphasize to you to document, document, document. So when you contact the Department of Labor, you need to have your documentation in order. You need to have the information about the company. You need to have, what days you worked, how many hours you worked, when you were supposed to get paid, have your paycheck stubs from the other payments. And, I'm talking like you getting a check in your hand, you might be getting automatic deposit, but you have some way of verifying that you were working and that you were an employee. So those are the types of things that you have to have. I'm not going to hold you long. I'm going to let you go on this point, but please, 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 there's a phone number and everything in the information below, so you can call the Department of Labor. Don't be scared. If you feel like you don't want to be identified because you're afraid you're going to be retaliated against, even though the U.S. Department of Labor handles that too, you can ask them, can you remain anonymous? So anyway, this is Anita at anitafoust.com. Check me out there. And thank you for